I still remember my first day at my first ever job. I was 18 years old and super excited to work in a cafeteria near my neighborhood. It wasn't a big place, just a small coffee shop where people came to relax, read, or chat. I thought, how hard can it be to serve coffee and clean tables? Oh, how wrong I was. On the first day, my manager, Mr. Carter, handed me a black apron and said, "Welcome to the team. Remember, always smile and listen carefully to the customers." I nodded, feeling confident. I didn't know my crazy adventure was just about to begin. The first mistake happened within the first hour. A man in a fancy suit came in talking on his phone. He ordered a cappuccino with extra foam, no sugar, and almond milk. I thought I understood perfectly. I smiled and repeated, "Got it, sir. A cappuccino with extra sugar and normal milk." He gave me a weird look, but I was sure I got it right. In the kitchen, I tried to use the coffee machine for the first time. It had so many buttons, and I felt like I was flying a spaceship. I pressed something, then steam went everywhere. I panicked and somehow ended up spilling hot milk all over the counter. When I finally gave the coffee to the man, he took one sip and shouted, "This isn't almond milk." His expensive suit got a small splash of coffee when he moved his hand. I turned bright red and apologized 20 times, but he just shook his head and walked out. I thought Mr. Carter would fire me immediately, but he only laughed and said, "It's okay. You're learning." The second disaster was even worse. A group of students came in and started ordering everything on the menu: latte, iced coffee, brownies, sandwiches. I couldn't keep up with all the orders. I mixed up the drinks, gave one student tea instead of coffee, and forgot the brownie for another. When they called me back, one girl said, "Are you sure you work here?" Everyone laughed, and I wanted to disappear. But the moment that almost broke me happened with an older woman. She ordered a mocha with whipped cream and asked me very kindly, "Could you please make it with love, dear?" I smiled nervously and said, "Of course, ma'am." I tried so hard to make her drink perfect, but when I went to serve it, I tripped on my shoelace. The cup flew out of my hands, and the mocha landed right on her table. Thankfully, not on her. I froze, waiting for her to yell at me, but instead, she started laughing. "Oh, sweetheart, don't worry. You're doing great." That moment gave me hope. Mr. Carter, my manager, saw the entire scene and came over with a smile on his face. He said, "Don't worry, kid. Everyone spills a little coffee their first week." The kind older woman even patted my shoulder and said, "You'll get better. Just don't give up." That day, I started noticing something interesting. Even though I made mistakes, big mistakes, some customers smiled and encouraged me. I realized people were not as scary as I thought. The next few days at the cafe were not perfect, but I kept learning. I practiced using the coffee machine during quiet hours. Mr. Carter taught me how to froth milk properly and how to remember complicated orders. He even showed me how to write down drink notes quickly to avoid confusion. I started improving slowly. But the best moment came when the same group of students returned. This time, I greeted them confidently with a smile. "Welcome back. What would you like today?" I double checked their orders, repeated everything carefully, and even added a joke about not serving tea by accident again. They laughed, and one of them said, "You're getting good at this." I couldn't stop smiling. By the end of the week, I felt like a completely different person. I had made friends with my coworkers who now joked with me during breaks. One of them, Sarah, said, "You know, we all messed up on our first week. Don't stress it. You're doing great." Then, on Friday, the kind older woman returned for her mocha with whipped cream. This time, I made sure it was perfect. I served it to her with a big smile and said, "I made this one with extra love." She laughed and replied, "I can tell, dear. Keep that attitude, and you'll go far." At the end of my shift, Mr. Carter pulled me aside. "You did great this week. You stayed positive even when things were tough. That's what really matters," he said. He handed me my first paycheck. I couldn't believe it. I had survived my first job. As I walked home that evening, I thought about everything I had learned. Sure, I spilled coffee, mixed up orders, and even tripped in front of customers. But I also learned how to laugh at myself, stay positive, and not give up. I realized that making mistakes wasn't so bad after all. In fact, it was part of growing. This was only the beginning of my journey. But I knew one thing: I was proud of myself.
I hope you liked this story. If you could improve your English a little more, please subscribe to the channel and share this video with a friend. Thank you very much for your support. Take care.